What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, and where else to start but the future of Harry Kane once again. And Ali Gold has been speaking about it today, and he says Harry Kane's Tottenham future is not linked to that of Antonio Conte. Sky Sports are saying that Tottenham are not willing to sell Harry Kane this summer, regardless of whether he signs a new deal or not, or where they finish in the Premier League. Depending on their summer trading and the profile brought into attack, Manchester United are very mindful of having to sell well and comply with financial fair play regulations, and they could revisit the Harry Kane situation in January. Romano says that at the moment, Harry Kane is speaking to Spurs over plans for next season regarding head coach's tactical plans before committing to a new deal. Daniel Levy is prepared to make multiple contract offers to Harry Kane in an attempt to keep him at the club. So it looks as though we kind of heard over the last couple of days Man United are a real viable option. It seems though Sky Sports are not really saying that, and journalists are kind of more pointing to Harry Kane and Tottenham having more discussions over a contract talk.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be. I'm sure Tottenham are desperate to sign him down. It's whether we can avoid we're going to do everything we can to avoid a summer like 2021. Basically, it's how do we avoid that situation happening again? And the only way to do it is for him to sign a contract. So, of course,
maybe a way to avoid it is to delete Harry Kane's number off Gary Neville's phone book.
There's that, and Sharon probably his brother as well. I'll probably help. Make sure he turns up to training on time. But I think Kane is going to take his time over this decision. I don't think he's going to rush anything right now, and I think that we're just going to have to be patient, and hopefully Spurs. Look, we have to hope. I think the minimum we have to hope we've got Champions League football next season. If we do, then obviously the next step is who's going to be in charge. Hopefully it's someone who can get Kane's competitive juices going, basically. If it's like Ryan Mason or something, and then I think he's going to try and force his way out. Like he saw Nuno get appointed. He's like, why am I still here, basically? But if we do get a good manager who can get us back, get us on the right track again and get us competing, then he might think it's worthwhile staying, especially if there's not too many viable options available to him inside the Premier League who are desperate to get him through the door. He knows he's loved at Tottenham. He knows he's already a legend here and it's his boyhood club, and he wants to win trophies here. But it was a Sky Sports reporter saying, Melissa, I can't remember her surname, but she said she heard from a source close to Kane that he doesn't want to be known as the person who broke all the goal-scoring records but didn't win any trophies. He doesn't want to be known as that person. And that's just the reality we have to face this summer. That's the real sticking point as to whether we can convince him to stay or not, whether we can convince him that he can break that trophy drought. And it all depends on who's going to be in charge next season.
Yeah. And all will be revealed over, I would say, the coming months, but probably longer than that. But all will. Yeah,
I mean, and in terms of the whole, it's not tied to Conte. I think he likes playing under Conte, and I think he would probably want Conte to stay. But I think in other situations, it is tied to whether Conte's here or not. But if we do get someone, I don't know, if we do get someone like Enrique or a manager of that caliber, then maybe that won't make too much of a difference to him in terms of that. But if it is a manager and like a defensive manager, like, if we go back in for Gattuso or something ridiculous, I don't know, then he probably will have to leave.
Yeah, and that's probably stands for the likes of what's his name, the chap that we were linked to just before Nuno, Fonseca,
yeah.
And these kind of managers. I wonder what his feeling would be regarding Pochettino, because obviously they have a really good relationship. Do you think he looks as it that's ambition, or does he look at it like, all right, it's time to move on now?
Great question. I do think he likes Pochettino. I think he really enjoyed playing under him. But does he represent a step to get Tottenham really competing? I would argue yes, but whether he has the patience for what we know Pochettino needs is a lot of time. I don't know. It's a big question. I don't know. I really don't know.
All right, let's move on. And talking of Luis Enrique, we've got some more Luis Enrique story to bring you today. This one from The Times saying that Luis Enrique is open to replacing Antonio Conte at Tottenham. Enrique is the favoured option for Fabio Paratici and would tick many of the boxes for Daniel Levy as well. there is a belief that Luis Enrique could have enough pedigree and personality to convince Harry Kane to sign a new deal, with Spurs still optimistic that the striker will stay. So kind of backing up what you just said in terms of Harry Kane and which kind of managers could keep him here at Tottenham. And I've always said that, ever since he's been linked anyway, that Luis Enrique should be an option for us. I think I would still kind of side with Pochettino, but he would definitely be in my top two.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Enrique is a top manager, 100%. But if you look about how much in terms of the squad, we're going to be looking at different kind of centre back if Enrique comes through the door. Then maybe we would be looking at under Conte. Definitely different type of midfielders than we have at the moment. We have a really good set of midfielders, but I don't know if any of them are suited to how Enrique will want to play his football. And then obviously the front line, I don't know. I think the front line he would be okay with. I think he had MSN when he was at Barcelona, so I don't think any trio can compare to them. But I think Kane, Son, Kulusevski, he's a lot to work with there. But I think there's so much rebuilding if we go in that direction under Enrique. Whereas I think someone like Pochettino would be more able to work with a lot of all the tools that we have already. Not maybe the back line, but a lot of, say, the midfielders and stuff than maybe Enrique would.
Obviously, we know about Enrique from his time at Barcelona with his time at Spain. And they kind of play a very similar way of football, tiki-taka, a lot of passing their opponents to death, blah, blah, blah. But I wonder if, because we haven't seen him outside of that kind of atmosphere, outside of Barcelona or Spain. So I'm wondering maybe if he does have a variety of options of playing and if he can adapt to kind of different situations as well. But we don't know that, do
Only
we?
one way of knowing, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Getting him through the door.
But we'll have to see how that one plays out. Next up, let's talk about Mauricio Pochettino. The Times again talking about this situation, and they say Mauricio Pochettino is believed to be keen on a return to Tottenham, but there is a nervousness inside the club about going back to the Argentinian. And it's kind of like that kind of situation that we keep talking about on this channel about going back to your ex and that kind of thing. Sometimes it doesn't work out. It has worked out for some clubs in the past. But how are you kind of feeling on it? I mean, I think it can work. I really do.
I don't see any reason why it can't. You just have to make sure that that Pochettino has the tools to play in that very specific, highly intense way that he likes to play. High pressing, get everyone running lots during football matches. The problem is, we've seen at the moment, is our squad physically has a bit of an issue. It can't really physically dominate teams for 90 minutes. Maybe next season will be different when you get a Doji in there, Parrott in there. You maybe integrate Basuma a bit more. He's going to need centre-backs. I think the midfield he can work with. But the front line as well is as much as I love them, Kane and Son, there's just question marks whether they fit that Pochettino system anymore. I think there is a question mark over whether they can do that pressing game like week in, week out, and whether you need fresher legs. I guess Richarlison's there, he can step in, but I don't know. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Because Kane and Son are just iconic. You want them there together all the time. And they were young and they were fresh when Poch first took over, but now, approaching or wrong side of 30, it's you already see with Liverpool, they had to freshen things up. Firmino's on his way out. Mane they sold. Only Salah's really there. When you're playing that kind of way, you need a lot of the time you need young players in that front line to lead from the front, and it's kind of a elephant in the room in a way.
Yeah, it is. I think as well, players like Bryan Hill, I think could come on leaps and bounds under Pochettino. I really do. But it's also a case like when Poch was at PSG, he had Messi, and he kind of gave Messi a different role than the other players in the team, where he kind of built the team around Messi and made everyone else do the running, and Messi kind of was able to do what he wants. I wonder if it would be the same with Harry Kane here.
That was the problem at PSG. That is the problem at PSG, in my opinion. You have Neymar, who, when he plays for Brazil, he plays in a front line of with Vinicius and Richarlison, young players, and they can all do the running for him. You go to Messi with Argentina, you could put him in Argentina, he's got Alvarez next to him. He's got younger players, McAllister, whatever, who do the running for him, and he can just do his stuff. You got Mbappe for France, who I know is young now, but a lot of the times he doesn't do a lot of the defensive work. He just hangs up there and gets other players who are running for him. You put them all together in one team at PSG, that's a big problem.
Of course.
And so if you're doing that with Kane, I agree. I think Kane, I don't know if he's quite at the stage yet where he needs a lot of running done for him, although he's still not very good at pressing. He still works hard himself. But Son is getting to that stage where he can't press intensely just a lot. So do you play them together? That's just the big question mark.
Yeah, I think there definitely could be a situation where I think Son will probably be looking to get out the door before. I mean, in terms of our perspective, probably want to move on Son before we move on Harry Kane. And if we can get to a situation where we've got Kane running down the middle, Richarlison on the left, Kulusevski on the right. I mean, those two players, Richarlison and Kulusevski, can really do the running and the defensive work. And look, Harry Kane, maybe not pressing from the front, but he'll still have a massive impact on that team. And I think that could definitely work under Poch. So let's move on. Let's talk about Troy Parrott now. There's been some quotes from Troy looking like he's a bit unsure on his future at the moment. Obviously, he's had an up and down season with Preston. He started off really well, got a really big injury, serious injury. He only seems to be recovering from that now. And the quote is, they asked him about his Tottenham future, and he says, "I'm not so sure, to be honest. I hope I have a future at Tottenham. I've always said that that's where I want to play, but we'll see what happens at the end of the season and then go into the summer and take it as it is." I mean, not too much to take from that quote, to be honest, but do you see a future for Troy Parrott at Spurs? Because I'm starting to second guess that now.
I mean, you would have said the same about Kane at this stage, but in his career it was very similar to Parrott. But obviously, you can only base it on what he's done, and what he's done at the moment is he's struggled to push on to the next level whenever he's been asked to do it. Whenever he's hit a certain level and he's asked to push on and go to the next level, he seems to struggle a bit. And now he's not helped by playing in a struggling Preston team who don't score many goals, so he's not getting many chances, so it's difficult for him. But I don't know if Tottenham can risk putting him in their first team next season, and if they're not going to put him in their first team next season, is it going to be another loan? And if it's another loan, he's now, 20, going to be 21, so all of a sudden that is getting to the territory like, you have to start making a career for yourself at that point. And is it more worth your while just leaving permanently, or
he's
do you want to
21 to be fair?
He's 21, so is it worth your while leaving permanently, or is that a decision he's got to make? I'm sure Tottenham will probably happily loan him out for another year, but for himself,
probably last chance saloon though for a
he
loan.
needs a bit of continuity. He needs to find his club, and he's got to ask himself whether it really is going to be at Tottenham the way things are going. I guess Kane probably asked himself the same question, and there were probably moments where he thought it wasn't going to be, and then he just ended up staying at Tottenham under AVB and Sherwood 1 year, and just forced himself into the team under Sherwood, and then never looked back. So Parrott might have to take that risk, but it's a big risk because it might not pay off.
Yeah, I kind of feel pretty much the same way. I mean, I've seen like glimpses in there from Troy Parrott, but it's not really enough when you're asking him to play in the Championship, come back to Tottenham and fight for your place. Obviously, like you say, Harry Kane was in a very similar boat, so hopefully he can turn it around. Still very young. I'd like to see him go to a club that are really on the front foot and really play attacking football in the Championship next year, and see how he can do, because I feel like we've done a bit of a disservice with the loans that he has had, because it seems as though the past couple of years every loan has just been wrong for him. Every loan has been a poor footballing team and everything like that. So I like to see him go to a team where they're really on the front foot, playing good football, and some chances will present himself to him. But that's the situation on Troy Parrott. Last but not least, youngster Jamie Donnelly. Ali Gold says he understands that the talented young Spurs striker Jamie Donnelly is set to sign a long-term contract with the club. Currently 18 years of age. He started the season in the under-18s, played 5 games, got 3 goals, 3 assists. Then he moved into the PL2, where he's played 14 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Hopefully, maybe we'll see some loan moves to him in the coming years.
Yeah, I hope so. I think I remember rightly. He scored like a goal from the halfway line. And that was like when did the rounds not so long ago, and he clearly has a striker with high potential. I'm rooting for him. I can't say I've seen too much of him in the youth sides, but I'm glad that Spurs are looking ahead to the future with new other strikers coming through the door, signing him, tying him down, and thinking about the long-term future, and hopefully. I've already had one amazing striker come through our academy. We've got Scarlett waiting in the wings, got Parrott on loan, although we'll see what happens with him. Maybe Doyley could be another one.
Let's hope so. And there's also Will Lancashire there as well, who's really starting to make a name for himself in the youth setup. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we've brought to you today. Thank you everyone for joining. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.